The issue is that I have your ex-boyfriend.
I owe him $75,000, and if I don't pay him, he's going to sue me.
He's a monster.
One of the best parts of being a Housewives fan is that it has become an ever-expanding universe. We not only have nearly 20 years of all the shows, their characters, their memes, and their catchphrases, but we also have the various podcasts, fan accounts, websites, and strange Etsy products that only we find funny. But after watching this episode, I wonder if the universe is being too big, or rather, that the outside universe, the one created by fans for fans, has come a little too close. The universe is expanding so rapidly that the show is just a tiny blip in it, a small drop of dye in a vast sea of content that immediately disperses as soon as it arrives. Here, we are discussing who sent whom to which bloggers, and it's so convoluted and confusing. Can we get back to fighting with some rando because she ate the fondant bow off Heather Dubrow's cake? Before we get into all of that, let's check in with all the ladies and see how they're doing and what personal storylines they've set up for us. It has a lot to do with real estate and kids. Shannon's story is that her daughters are all living away from her, and Stella is hanging out with Heather's daughter, Max, in Europe. Next Gen NYC hadn't even premiered yet and they're already trying to pitch a Paris outpost. Emily is having problems with her son, Luke, who is still at home. He suffers from ARFID, which is an eating disorder where he is disinterested or avoidant of nearly all foods. All they can get him to eat are turkey slices, wheat thins, Chex, white rice, and disgusting black French fries they find on the floor and pay him $20 to consume. Emily also discovers that he may have autism, and both of these things are making her feel like a failure as a parent. Meanwhile, Heather's biggest problem is that the Hollywood home she bought and tried to renovate was $8 million over budget, but she already started tearing it up, so now she has a half-ruined house she needs to offload on some poor sucker. I'm sorry, but I can't with Heather and her properties. Yes, I love when housewives are really, really rich and aspirational, but there's something about the way Heather does it that makes me feel like I just took a shower in raw sewage. It's like she expects it, like she's so used to it that it's not fun anymore. I much prefer it when Gina, finally moving back in with Travis, has a moderately sized house and no furniture, so she's sitting on lawn chairs. That hits me where I live. That and a pine-scented Yankee candle feels like safety. Tamra's personal story is that she is in therapy. She's been working through her past traumas and thinks it's making her life better. Then we meet her therapist, and her name is Dr. Michaela, and I'm sorry, but that arrangement of vowels and consonants should not be trusted to give anyone mental health advice. I'm glad that Tamra is finally getting the help that she feels like she needs, but it's like her baptism or bodybuilding all over again. It seems like a fad or a put-on, something that is only happening for the show. Though I did love when she said she wants to stop being responsive, impulsive, explosive, and harsh with my words, and we get a lovely montage of her doing each of those things, but so iconic. I wouldn't blame her for wanting to keep being destructive for the rest of her life. Jen's storyline is that she is marrying Ryan. They go to a swimwear store because Ryan is trying to convince Jen that their wedding shouldn't be suits and dresses, it should be board shorts and bikinis. This is the dumbest fucking idea I have ever heard. First of all, not everyone would feel comfortable in their swimwear, especially bikinis, in a large group, and it is also unfair to Emily Simpson, the undisputed queen of the One Piece, to deny her the opportunity to wear her signature bathing costume. Second, board shorts are so 2005. Men's swimsuits are getting tiny. Ryan should be the first person on this trend. As a gentleman of a certain stature, he should know that those long-ass, bulky board shorts are only going to make him look, well, short. Get yourself a nice pair of trunks, Ryan. Do yourself a favor and show off those gorgeously toned legs of yours. Everyone will be happier and you'll look a lot less like someone shrunk Scooby-Doo era Matthew Lillard in the wash. Katie does not have a personal storyline. Why? Because she is everyone's storyline, and based on the trailer, it seems like this entire season will be about Katie and what she is or isn't telling people, as well as the truth she is or isn't revealing. When Katie came on the scene, I really liked her, but the story started to get more and more confusing, and the excuses became easier and easier for her to fire off. By the time the reunion rolled around, I was starting to get con artist vibes, which is just what Gina claims Jen said about her. Even if Jen didn't call her a con artist, that she said that Katie's stories don't add up and she has an excuse for everything or so on the money that Ryan tried to invest it in crypto. There are two different storylines about Katie and whether or not she talked to bloggers. I'm going to try to explain them to you, but I'm going to have to bust out my Carrie Matheson from Homeland map, so bear with me. Last season, Katie's daughter, Kylie, babysat for Emily's kids, and Kylie says the kids said that Emily said Heather is mean. Emily became upset about this, and it developed into a major storyline. After the reunion aired, Katie says that Emily's former nanny reached out to her and corroborated what Katie said, and wanted to get that information out to the public. Katie put her in touch with some bloggers whom Kylie just met because she was on their podcast, and that ex-nanny story got out to the public. When Gina goes to have coffee with Katie and ambushes her with Emily, not cool, but I get why it was necessary. Katie admits she did it because she was pissed at Emily. I'm sorry, but Katie should not have been directing the ex-nanny to the press. After all, there are plenty of Housewives gossips out there on the internet. The nanny would have found one of them if she really wanted to. How difficult is it to simply submit a tip to Dumois? Katie didn't need to get involved, and it's messed up that she did. Emily reminds Katie that last season they agreed to keep the kids out of it. Katie says that Emily voided it by bringing up Katie losing custody of her own children at the reunion. Emily apologized for that, and she should because it was really mean, but I think Katie is stretching here. Emily wasn't bringing up Katie's kids, she was bringing up Katie's character and unfitness as a mother. If you say, Katie crashed a BMW into a school, you can't get sued for defamation by BMW, because the point isn't the car, it is how Katie was behaving with it. The same goes for her losing kids. Yes, Emily never should have brought it up, but it doesn't betray the arrangement like Katie thinks it does. The other drama is between Tamra and Katie. Tamra claims that a content creator alleged Tamra was the person behind several troll accounts. Tamra posted online that it was false and that woman was going to hear from her lawyer. Tamra then finds out that Katie has been talking to this woman. Katie claims that the woman reached out to her, but when she says that, Tamra pulls up a podcast that the woman was on where she said that Katie is the one who DM'd her. Here's where this all loses me, and it's very similar to Whitney Rose pulling in that podcaster this season of RHOSLC to say that Lisa Barlow is the one who was saying her jewelry is from Alibaba, or Alibaba, as Meredith Marks pronounces it. We don't know these bloggers. We don't see them, we don't hear from them, we don't get their account of the story. They could be lying. They could be making this all up. As Katie points out, they have a vested interest in getting attention for themselves on the very shows that they cover, and a little lie here or there may be worth it. It's very hard for us to pick a side or judge who is right in an argument when one of the sides is totally obfuscated and of dubious quality. I guess what matters is that the women believe them, and sometimes belief creates reality. It is worrying, though, that Katie brings up the possibility of them lying, but also tells Jen that she is close with these bloggers. Jen says that Katie doesn't think of them as bloggers but thinks of them as friends. Katie even says she went to one of their birthday parties recently. Okay, so Katie thinks they're liars, but then is trying to be friends with them? And they're not friends. These people are using her. They want a housewife at their party, and Katie is willing to go, and in return, what? She gets preferential treatment? They'll help her with her lies? I don't know. It's all murky, it's all misplaced. It's just out there in the ether like Dubai chocolate or the R word coming back. The first time all the ladies sit down is at Shannon's retreat at the Golden Door. When they're done drumming and doing Tai Chi, they have lunch and drum on Katie for having no boundaries when it comes to talking to the press and ruining the reputations of all of her co-stars and then hiding behind her non-plausible deniability. Katie said earlier, at her dinner with Tamra, where they discussed this blogger, that she would show Tamra that this woman DM'd her first, something that she could have done at the table. When all the ladies are sitting around at lunch, they ask her to prove it then. What happens next is Katie's entire MO. They ask her to bring up the DMs, and suddenly she has no service. She goes deep into her phone to prove she has no network connection. Tamra points out that if it were her, she would be up in the tree trying to get even the smallest lick of reception. Gina says that she should get on the Wi-Fi. They're all right. Do something. Get someone to hotspot you. Hire a troop of elves to pedal 1,000,000 bikes so that they can create enough electricity for her to connect to the internet. Something. But she can't or she won't. This is like all Katie's stories. She would prove it if she could, but she can't, because the world is conspiring against her. There is always some excuse, something preventing her from telling an easy, simple story. I'm sorry, if Katie can't beat the allegations, then they're all true. And as Katie sets her flag in this expanding universe, as the Milky Way stretches a little bit every day with the gaps between stars, between planets, between molecules, between atoms getting farther and farther apart, Katie just hopes they'll create a space big enough for her to disappear into and she can keep the con going for one more second before the covalent bonds of all those atoms snap back together, crushing her with the weight of 1,000,000 black holes.